While we are waiting, perhaps we can encourage some of you to send us the view from your window. If you go into that section of this platform, you'll see some interesting views from windows across the world. And so this is an invitation for you to join us in that section as well. And while we wait for the attendees, we want to thank you for taking the time to make connections prior to the AGM. I believe there's been some very interesting and exciting connections made, and we hope that these will be lasting and that you can reconnect after the council meeting as well. So just a few more minutes and then we'll start with the AGM. I think some people are still struggling to get in. So welcome to the 2020 AGM with a difference. As some countries are planning a second lockdown, I'm pleased that you can join us at our first virtual council meeting. They say life begins at the end of your comfort zone, and this is definitely going to be life starting for me. I'm very excited about this council meeting and look forward to making ICP history with you today. Before I check with the Executive Secretary that the AGM is correctly constituted and open it officially, here are a few housekeeping rules to abide by to make the council meeting a success. All documents have been posted on the portal and will be considered as read. We are going to require people to move and second motions. These will be typed in the question and answer section in the right-hand side of your screen. The first two names that come through will automatically be taken as the mover and seconder. In order for motions to be carried, I will call for objections rather than a show of support. If there are any objections, please note it and provide further information. We will deal with the objections outside of session and report back to members. I think we are now ready to proceed. I call on the Executive Secretary, Cherie Vertigan, to confirm that the AGM is correctly constituted.
Thank you, Alto. I can say that we do have a quorum, and I hope that no one is planning to leave because we are right on the limit, but we have the quorum, so we are ready to proceed.
All right. So then I declare the AGM correctly constituted and we can therefore proceed. So we're in the apologies section at the moment. And from our side, we've received apologies for Nancy Brady, our executive member for the Americas. Of course, she is in Canada, so it's quite early. She will join us a little later. And then also from Maria Doyle, whose circumstances beyond her control is not enabling her to attend, but she will be joining us with regards to the later on. She'll join us later on. So this is a moment to register any other apologies so that we can receive them. All right, there don't seem to be any apologies. So we'll proceed. Cherie is at hand to just assist. So you've received the minutes of the AGM held in Shanghai, China 2019. This is item number 2 on our current agenda. Are there members who attended Shanghai AGM who could move and second the motion that the minutes of the Shanghai AGM as circulated be accepted as a true and accurate record? So I'm going to check that section. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ian and Carl. I see that. So are there any matters arising from the minutes or any corrections that you would like us to note? Thank you. So I'll go over to item number 2, which is the President's report. So I'm going to ask the President-elect, Peter Kent, to chair this section so that I can focus the attention on some of the information in my report very briefly. So I want to just mention a few items. And the first one is that, as can be expected, the pandemic affected the ICP program in that many things planned had to either be postponed or cancelled altogether. And we are very sad that Ghana couldn't host the 2020 council meeting after the work that they have done in preparation. We also had to cancel the festivities of the ICP's 30th anniversary and the new initiative of hosting an aspiring school leaders convention.
Peter appears frozen. Cherie, it seems like we've got some frozen altars coming back.
Just that we faced during the pandemic. Lastly, I would like to turn your attention to the thank you section of the report. Without the commitment and dedication of executive and members, our confederation would not have survived. I thank you for the part that you have played to ensure that the ICP thrives in uncertain times. And that brings me to the end of the highlights or the items I would like to mention from my report. Peter, it's over to you.
Thank you, Alta. The motion we have before us, really helpful to hear Alta's update, despite all that's been going on about how much has still been happening. The motion is that the President's report be accepted. Have we got a mover and a seconder, please? Just waiting for some to type into the Q&A, a mover and a seconder for that motion, that the President's report be accepted. Thank you, Carl. And have we got a seconder there as well? Yeah, we've got Ian as well there, I think, as well. So thank you very much indeed. And that then moves us on to the financial statements and reports from Cherie. Cherie, have we got you unmuted?
Thank you, Peter, for reminding me to unmute. Can you all hear me now? And can you see my shared screen? Excellent. So I would like to just quickly go through the financial statements. Again, they can be found in the documents section, but in particular, I want to refer to our income. You'll see that financially, as an organisation, we are very stable, but you'll also see that there's some changing in coding, and I would like to explain that. So the conference fees on the top line and the council registrations below have been joined together as one entry in last year as a conference year. That's why there is no entry against council registration. It was the way that we banked the money. There has been a slight decrease in membership subscription. That's not due to a decrease in members, but rather an increase in the number of members who actually request for a hardship provision in the last financial year. And given that that's part of our policy, we quite understand that sometimes there are issues that prevent you from being able to pay in full. All members are aware of this hardship thing. The other revenue that's referred to here under 2019 really refers to our partnerships and one-off payments. So Microsoft, Bet, Virgin, Pulse, and some refunds. But you can see that we are in a pretty healthy financial position, which is great. And it's also probably, as I've said in my report, due to our fiscal restraint and our focus on increasing the amount of money that we have for our organisation. So in the last 6 years, we've really gone from a zero sum upwards. So well done to everyone, and thank you to the members for paying so punctually. In the expenditure, audit fees appear there, but they don't appear in 2018. That's because in 2018 they came under a consulting and accounting. You'll see the difference there, but we've separated those out. There is an error here that was picked up by the auditors and by myself, but was not, did not have a request to change it. Again, it refers to coding. So we have president's expenses along there, but then if you look down a little bit further, it actually has president again. So if you add those two sums together, you'll get the correct amount that was expended by the president in 2019, and that is 17,346. The auditors made the decision for me not to have to redo it because both amounts were there and were accounted for. Seminar costs. Seminar costs really refer to when we attend events, but we need to pay to register for accommodation and flights. And you can see that in 2019, that was a substantial cost. That was due to our increased involvement with ARC, WISE and OECD, all activities which the executive deemed to be important activities for the ICP. I think the rest of it is pretty straightforward, but if you refer to, and I should note that the copy that I loaded into the document file is not the signed copy, but it has been signed and has been sent to the Australian ASIC and Australian Charities and National Commission. So that's accordance to what we need to do. Over to you, Alta.
All right, so so we just need a mover and seconder for the financial statement and report to be accepted. And then if you have any questions or objections, if you can also log those. Thank you again. We've got one coming through. Is there a seconder? I'm waiting for a seconder. I don't know whether you, thank you very much. I assume that some of you are struggling to get your names typed in or the questions. We appreciate that. Thank you for the new names coming through now. Are there any questions or objections? Then we can proceed to the next section, which is the Executive Secretary's report. So, Cherie, if you can carry on then.
Okay, thank you very much, Alta. Just continuing on with the theme of our financial viability, in the 6 months of the first 6 months of the 2020 financial year, we had a balance of $224,128.50. Since that time, as at today, it is $234,799.46. Our current debts relate to this event. We have allocated $20,000 Australian towards the event, which will cover GEM's event management and guest speakers. We also made the decision, as you will all note, that it would be a free event, and that was made because of the unusual circumstances and our desire to connect with as many members as possible. We only have one outstanding payment to us, and that relates to an airline reimbursement. This year we decided we'd be very well organised, and we planned a lot of events early on in the year and started paying for flights. We have had all of them returned via one, and that I have had confirmation that we will now receive that money, but it won't be until the 25th of November. Initially, they wanted to give us a voucher, but I wasn't happy to accept that we have a voucher. All of the other information is covered in my report. And except I'd like to say a number of people have asked over the years that we have a credit card facility on our ICP payments. We now have that, and we've had a number of members use that facility, and it's worked very well. So hopefully that will address some of the banking concerns that we've had in the past. Thank you, Alta.
Thank you, Cherie, and for the wonderful work that you're doing. I thank you on behalf of the council. So now I would like to call on people to please propose that we accept the motion that the report be accepted, that the Executive Secretary's report be accepted. I can see those again in the question section on the right-hand side of your screen, or the left-hand side of your screen, I think, certainly on mine. Thank you. There's one. Can we have a seconder? This is a little different because usually we'll see it immediately, but it is taking a bit of time for people to put their names in. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. So we've got a mover and we've got a seconder. Thank you. If there are any questions, could you also, or objections, could you also type those in now? Thank you. Then Cherie, if you can continue with the public officer's statement.
Yeah. As the public officer for the Confederation, I, Cherie Vertigan, Executive Secretary, have outlined to the members the annual statement required by the Registering Authority. It has been submitted as per the process, and the AGM minutes will be submitted to the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profit Commission immediately after this meeting. All compliance requirements have been met in accordance with Australian regulations. You'll also see that noted in my report. Thank you, Alta.
All right, so now we also need to have somebody propose that we accept that statement. So if you once again could just type in, we need somebody to propose and second that we accept the statement by the public officer. And if you have any questions or objections, please also note those. Thank you. We've got 2 names.
Thank you, Alta. The final step is the nomination of auditors for 2021, or technically for the 2020 financial year. Initially, we did discuss that we would change auditors, but given that I have agreed to stay on until the end of next year or the conference in Toronto, it seems logical that we still use the tax centre. So I'd like to move the motion that the tax centre be the nominated auditors for 2021. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Alta. It's over to you.
So thank you so much, everybody, for helping us to get these motions passed. It's a little bit nerve-wracking on this side, as you can imagine. So let's look at the executive reports. I trust that you've read them all. And so we're going to take them as read and not spend too much time on this section. So again, I'm calling for somebody to propose that we accept these executive reports, and a seconder as well. Thank you. That's one name. Is there somebody else that will second? Thank you very much for helping us through the motions now. So the next section of the agenda will be shared by Cherie and our General Representative, Leendert Jan Veldhuizen. So Cherie is going to talk to us about the future conventions and council meetings. So it's over to you, Cherie.
Thank you, Alta. I guess probably it suffice to say there's a little bit of tentativeness about what we're going to do going forward. But at this stage, our process is as follows. The council meeting for 2022, we have 2 confirmed nominations, Ghana, who is obviously the postponed council meeting, and Finland. We're going to ask them to provide us with a presentation around their council by the end of this year, and that we will conduct a voting session via circular resolution within the first quarter of 2021. The next is the Convention 2023. We have 2 nominees again. The first one is Kenya, who you're all aware nominated in Killarney for the 2021, but were unsuccessful. They lost by 1 vote. And the second nominee is Singapore, who have held a convention before, previously in 2009. And we look forward to seeing the presentations by both of them, but we will not vote on those until we are in Toronto. If we are not in Toronto, then we will identify another process prior to that time. Thirdly, although it's not on your agenda, we have had 1 nomination for Convention 2025, and that's the Salwan Trust, who are based in New Delhi in India. We will be happy to welcome any other nominations from other countries who may be interested in the 2025. And again, we will go through that process when we're in Toronto. Leonard-Jan?
Thank you, Cherie. I will take you through a few points on the agenda. First of all, the Executive Secretary. As some of you might remember from our meeting in Shanghai, Cherie gave us a notice that she would withdraw her function by the end of 2020. And as you all can understand, in this crazy times and difficult year, we discussed about it, and Cherie has withdrawn her notice and agreed on staying on until the end of 2021, which is would be at least the Toronto Convention, which is great. And the executive is very pleased and thankful that she will do that. And I assume that everybody on the council agrees with us. So thank you very much, Cherie. And second point is the election. It's a bit of the same. You've had a circular going around in July 2020 about suspense elections for 2020, since this is a hard time to have elections, but also to find candidates for the new year. And basically everything during 2020 is sort of cancelled and sort of a lost year on that point. So you all agreed by circular, which was held in the end of July, to do the elections in 2021. So all executive members will stay on for 1 more year. Thank you all for that also. Then certainly in these difficult times, it's important, of course, that the executive take a good look at herself. And so we have developed a self-assessment tool and started that in Shanghai, and we talked about it and started self-assessing us in Amsterdam beginning of this year. This is still an ongoing process, and we're working hard on that. And the next executive meeting, we will work things out and of course make a report of that for council next time. I think that is all for now on the other business, so I go back to Alta.
Thank you, Leonard-Jan. So that was his maiden speech as an executive member. So well done to you, Leonard. Under the section on special business, we haven't received any notification of special business to be mentioned. And so we're coming to the end of our AGM. I see the timer is also reminding us that we're ending, but we have been granted a few more minutes, seeing that we started a little late. So item number 8, I want to just give notice that the next annual general meeting will be held in Toronto on the 15th of August 2021, if everything goes well. But before I declare the AGM closed, we want to whet your appetite for this event by showing you a brief video clip. So it's over to the GEMS team to quickly show us that clip.
Hello, my name is Nancy Brady, and I am the ICP Executive Representative for the Americas region. I am the past president of the Ontario Principals Council and an 18-year veteran principal in Ottawa, Ontario. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the International Confederation of Principals and the Ontario Principals Council, in partnership with Association de Direction et Direction Adjoint des Écoles Franco-Ontariennes and the Catholic Principals Council of Ontario, to invite you to the 2021 ICP Convention, #Elevate2021, which will be taking place in Toronto, Canada from August 16th and 19th, 2021 at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre in downtown Toronto. I am excited to share that 5 keynote speakers have already been confirmed, including Colonel Chris Hatfield, Sagata Mitra, Yasmin Abdel Majid, Richard Gerber, and Gabrielle Scrimshaw. In addition, our convention team has created a 1-page summary of planning to date, which includes information about registration, early bird pricing, speakers, calls for proposals, health and safety, and marketing and promotion. In addition, we have a dedicated section on our principals.ca website that also includes information about the venue, accommodations, and tourism opportunities. Please take a moment to check out this information and share it with your national colleagues. We look forward to hosting education leaders from around the world and to facilitating opportunities for networking and collaboration with a focus on enhancing outcomes for students across the globe. I look forward to seeing you at our 2021 convention in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
So there is your invitation. I trust that you will join us at the council in Toronto. I want to thank you for helping us through the AGM. This was a difficult one, not being able to see your faces and being able to interact with you. But I would like to just close the AGM. There being no further business to discuss, I officially close the 2020 AGM. You are reminded to go back to the time now to access the next session and to click on the little note that says join. We'll see you in Toronto 2021. Thank you.